Hi Sagar, welcome to the post-admit chat of ISB Mantra. Congratulations on your admit to the PGP program. And how do you feel to be the first batch of the PGP program?
Firstly, thank you for all the wishes. Thank you to ISB Mantra as well for guiding me along the way. Being now coming to being the first batch, it's always a kind of a mixed feeling. Right from my second year in college, I had read a few research papers which were published by ISB. I already knew what ISB is, what ISB stands for, but my inclination towards it grew tremendously in the second year, and there was a program YLP where some of my seniors had enrolled. So already had a huge kind of inclination towards what ISB means. And then I read about the establishments and all the other colleges that are affiliated with it, say Northwestern, Kellogg, everything in that. So, but the dilemma in my mind was, and what my parents wanted was for me to do a 2 year MBA rather than a 1 year MBA. And ISB till that point in time had only offered a 1 year MBA. So the starting of this program at a point in time where I was always looking to do an MBA was kind of a blessing in disguise for me. I went to the PGP info session where I met certain professors from ISP, Professor Vishal Karungulam I met, other professors I met. Along the way, I met Ketan sir, like who I like knew from LinkedIn and all. So, like during that time, I realized I tried and I dove deep into what the program essentially stands for. I came to know that the cohort size is very small. It's like what they told us at that point. Was that it would be 140 to 160, and right now what like already know is the cohort size exactly 140. So like there were multiple features which drove me close to it, and then obviously the preparation that goes along with it, interview prep, academics, everything. I tried and streamlined everything in a way that would like bring me closer to what I aimed for or what I targeted.
Right. And this is a very good point that you have mentioned in between that you attended the info sessions. And
Yeah.
for those who are listening to this video, I would add that if you're looking to apply to ISB for any of the programs, right, do register yourself, and that's how you get information about the webinars and about the sessions that they conduct in different cities, right? I'm sure you attended from like which city are you from, Sagar? Delhi. Yeah. So you attended
Delhi.
the session at Delhi, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, at Sheraton Sake, the same place where my interpreter was.
Yes, yes. So they do take it in multiple cities. So the idea is, please register yourself, log in, so that you get the information and you don't have to, you get it on your email. So and these info sessions really help you understand more about ISB, more about the program, more about any doubt that you may have, right? So thank you so much, Sagar, for joining us, and let's start the conversation. So if you could just introduce yourself, a bit about your profile and your journey so far.
Right. So a bit about myself. I'm a general engineer male. So I did my schooling in Delhi here itself from Amity International School, Mayur. After my schooling, I went into VIT Vellore, where I pursued my BTech in computer science. And from there, I like during the course of my college, I did a couple of internships which were related mostly to data analytics or consulting. So post that, I secured a job via my college placement at Ion Group. At Ion Group, I firstly joined post graduation as a technical analyst, where my work was essentially to work with multiple banks like JPMC, Goldman Sachs, and as a technical analyst, where I used to solve their issues and and it was mostly centered toward the client communication or front end communication side of it. Then post that in the same company, which I would say was a major breakthrough or turnaround for me. In November, I applied for a role which was a growth and strategy role within the same firm, where I rotated via the role rotation program of my firm in November, and I later transitioned into a growth and strategy role at Ion Analytics, where I directly worked with the chief revenue officer, and it was mostly a back end strategy and framework role, where we had to apply strategic and analytic frameworks across data, risk, revenue, and capital markets, particularly centered in India as well as in America. Outside of work, I've always been inclined towards much towards sports, specifically cricket, and I tried because I had an interest in data analytics as well. I usually try to apply all those to cricket, apply all those to sports. In addition to that, one of the biggest things that I've been doing in the last, say, 6 to 7 years has been public speaking, and public speaking not in terms of, say, Toastmaster or something like that. Public speaking in terms of constructive argumentation, strategic argumentation, like MUNs, debates. I've like chaired a lot of conferences, and which is also one thing which drove me closer to the idea of case competitions, basically constructing a strategy, pitching your strategy, and that is something I've been inclined towards a lot. Lately, in the last 1 year, I've been I've been diving deep too much into philosophy and Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy. Just that, like my like obviously like the human propensity to seek, and also it keeps my mind active. So yeah, that's about me.
Yeah, I mean, looking at your application, one can see the list of certificates that you have in your application, right? You have done from LinkedIn, and you also mentioned that you did a couple of certifications and online courses. Most of them were in product management, and a couple of others. And it of course adds to your credential because you have a certification, but what we have from our experience, what we have gained is any school, and specifically ISB, they will ask you questions if you have mentioned that you have done certain certifications, and they don't want to see the physical copy, right? They want to judge you with the questions that they ask, and while talking to you, whether you have done these certifications or not. And of course, we cannot deny that it does help in the overall application process, and above all in the overall development, and in overall you as a person with that particular domain knowledge. So were you asked questions around these certificate programs?
Uh, I wouldn't say directly during the interview. During the mock interviews that were taken by ISB Mantra, yes, not directly during the interview, but while I talk about product strategy, product management, because I've done certifications in those, and because my work was in that particular area, obviously there were questions which were related to my work.
Yeah.
So while there were questions related to my work, I also had the knowledge which I had gained directly, like from working in that particular role, and also the knowledge which I derive from these particular internships. So these particular certifications, I'm sorry. So in a way, in like they like there are multiple things in the interview that the panel wouldn't directly ask you, but because they have my application in front of me, they had all the certification jotted down. Obviously, they wanted to know if actually I had the application which I like, if the application I derived from these courses, or the job, was it legitimate, was it no? So yep.
Right, right. I understand. It's like an indirect way to safeguard and to understand whether what you have written is what you have done. So may not be directly, but indirectly, a person can know what kind of knowledge you come up with, right? So now,
Yes.
coming to your GMAT Sagar 675 on a focus edition, like how did
Yep.
you score that? Because this is often a question by a lot of our candidates. How do I score to this? Like this was your first attempt, or like
Yep.
your strategy of your GMAT focus?
No, so this was absolutely my first attempt. I gave it on 20th July last year. Again, because before the role rotation program, while I was in my first role, I like obviously it was a client facing role, but I did not get the client facing opportunities in the capacity that I would have wanted to. So my brain was towards MBA at that point in time. So I thought to myself, like, let's give this exam right now. And like I started with the data section firstly, because I knew that section was the make or break in this paper, because this section is something which is native to the GMAT. You don't get these kind of sections directly in CAT or any other exams where you'll get bar graphs, where you'll get pie charts. So I started with this section, and luckily I had a 99 plus percentile in this particular section, because I had 18 out of the 20 questions or 21 questions correct in this section. Post that, I went with quants, where I think I rattled up a bit, because I don't know, because I did not get the break or something like that. Post that, I took the 10 minutes break, and I think, I don't know, like I don't know, none of us knows how the human brain works, but I think that 10 minute break, it made me fresh, and post that I went to my verbal section, and like the score in the verbal section also improved than what I used to give it to the mock. So what I would like recommend people is the order of the sections is very important, and more than the order of section, the 10-minute break that you take in between any of the sections, like be very mindful of where you take that particular break, because that also helps your focus, efficiency level, your brain cells, your activation in a massive way.
When did you see you get an interview invite? Like how long, how many days did you get to prepare yourself before the interview date?
Right. So around, I would say around the first week of April, I got an intimation that I have been shortlisted for the interview, and I'll get to know the interview date soon enough. That is when I subscribed to ISB Mantra as well, for the interview prep. However, on 14th April, I got to know like the final date of the interview, which was 5 days after the final mail that I got, and my interview was eventually on 20th April in Delhi
So
itself.
you got round about 20 days to prepare, in short.
I would say if the after the mail, around 17-18 days, and the final date I got 5 days prior to the interview. So yes, I would
Yes.
say two
Yes.
and a half weeks. Good two and a
Yeah.
half weeks. Yeah.
Because ideally, there are two formats. One ISB that has recently they have started is they will send you an email that you are shortlisted, but please wait for the exact date. The other way that they do and they used to do is they will send the interview invite just like 5 days or even
Yeah.
3 days before your actual interview invite. So we are
Yeah.
glad that you took an early decision and you got like some 2 weeks to prepare with us. And
Right.
this year they have also had on-spot essays. So, do you have
Correct.
something to talk about the on-spot essays?
Yes, ma'am. So I have the topics of my own spot essay written in front of me. I like the moment I
Wonderful.
came back from the interview, I had everything jotted. On spot essays was like I had two topics. First, the topic was something like you're in a college committee, you're organizing a fest, and you need to give a tender to someone from the fest. Now there's an entire committee who needs to decide who to give the tender to, and you're one of the members, and you think that the best person that deserves the tender is a person A or a committee A. Now the problem is that the person or the committee A, they are your family friends. So in that particular situation, how would you convince the entire committee to give the tender to person A, and at the same point in time avoid conflict of interest? This was the first question. The second question that I had got was how would you like you're working in a group situation and there's strict deadline that there needs to be tasks which needs to be completed. How would you as a person in that particular situation help others to avoid any kind of basically collapse or any kind of so people do not exert themselves. There's no situation where people are not able to work, and at the same point in time you ensure that the end goal is reached, that people are able to work, but there's no breakout, there's no turmoil in the group itself. So what I realized during these two essays, ma'am, is because I had 20 minutes to write both these two essays, and you won't imagine the first question that I had got, it was this long. So it took me 1.5 minutes to just read the question, and I saw the clock, then it was 18 minutes and 37 seconds which were remaining. I legit got scared at that point in time. But the only strategy that I would say for the essays is you can do two things. One, you drive out or you try and create creative solutions or innovative solutions you think that no one could create. So one is that. Second, now that you know that there are 20 minutes only and you need to write two essays, what you do is you give normal solutions which I won't say would be out of the world, or solutions which won't be as like simple, like as complex as moksha or nirvana, anything like that. You give out basic simple solutions, but you align it to how you have already implemented those solutions in your experience. This
Right.
is the route or this is the path that I pick. So in the first question also as well, because I was the director of training for my college debate and MUN club, I knew that I had faced a similar situation where there were juniors who were like who I knew before college, who I knew before them coming into the club. So what I used to do in that particular situation is that I used to give my opinion, or I used to give my assumptions about those particular juniors to the committee, but then I used to sit out of their interviews. Similar track, I derived a similar pattern here itself, and I wrote the similar thing in my essay about how I have a certain personal experience and how I would amalgamate what I did there into what I would do here. Similarly, in the second situation, the idea of celebrating small small wins and all of that. So because it's very difficult for a human brain to process something which is very innovative when you have 20 minutes for two essays, what I did was, because I had similar experience in the past, I tried to basically specify a roadmap, or I tried to basically drill down a roadmap as to what I had already practiced before as per my experiences. So that worked for me. For some people, the most innovative solution works better than the solution that I like practiced. So yeah.
These are like how you have mentioned, it can be a behavioral, it can be a situation, and the way you have tackled is really commendable, because you link, like how Sagar you have mentioned, that you linked it with your own experience, and you added some innovative wording and innovative language to your answers. So that is a great way that one can attempt to these on spot question. One is to relax and to read, even if it is a long question, sit back and then understand what can be the answer, how it can be related to a similar situation that you have faced in in your previous company, or in your college, or in your personal life, and try to relate it. It may not be you may not come out with an innovative or a very extraordinary point, but sometimes even a basic solution, if written well, adds a lot of value to the answers, right? And how Sagar has mentioned it so well, right? So how do you think, how did ISB Mantra helped you in your overall interview prep? How were the sessions with ISB Mantra?
Right. So, ma'am, I think the biggest plus point of subscribing to ISB Mantra for me was ISB Mantra provided me structure. So every aspirant, when they apply for an MBA college or when they apply for an interview, they have multiple points jotted in their mind about how they can go about the interview. They have done this, they have done yada yada. But the most important thing is in an interview is to provide the information, or to basically narrate the information in a structured manner. And that is what the series of four mock interviews and one counseling session helped me with. So another plus point was that because there were five different people who took my who were taking these sessions, I got different perspectives. And I won't lie, there were on some aspects there were conflicting perspectives as well. So for example, a counselor told me, you go ahead with, do not say that in an interview, or this is not what you ask the panelists, and other panelists said this. But then I needed to decide. I was the one to decide what would be the most ideal thing which would suit my journey or my story. And that is the biggest plus point of taking a subscription with you guys, because there were five different people whose viewpoints I got. And during all the five interviews, what I realized in my mind was that I was the structure in my mind was getting better and better and better. So the enhanced structure helped me on the day of the interview as well. So for example, a simple question like, say, why ISB or why MBA? So because I was someone, I was very rooted that if I want to do an MBA from India, there were 6 to 7 colleges that I had aimed from: ABC, ISB, XLRI, FMS, and SPGen maybe. So I was very rooted to that. But while I was answering it, in my initial mock interviews, there was lack of structure in my answering. So I had points jotted down in my mind about why ISB or why MBA. I had 10 to 11 points jotted down. But to bring all those points to amalgamate into a particular structure was where ISB Mantra helped me a lot. And
Right.
again, the second point, that because I got the perspective of so many people, I was able to get the best out of every point and explain it to the panel accordingly.
Right, right. Beautifully explained. And yes, we focus on building an approach. We focus on the structure of the answers that one can answer, because after all, it's your application. Uh, Believe me, and you have already experienced, Sagar, that you know what is the answer, but sometimes you are not able to link it. Right, you're not able to connect
Correct.
the dots properly, and that's where the agenda of the team is, that there would be one question that can be asked in different ways, and there can be one particular answer that you can repeat in different questions. So you need to understand the approach, and most importantly, you also need to figure out the top 3 or 4 qualities of your profile, as you you have mentioned that you got the perspective through different interviewers. So there may be times wherein you don't align with the feedback of an interviewer, but that's up to you. And we absolutely want to give you that freedom, that you take the feedback that you feel is matching with what you feel that it is with your career goal or with your future alignment. And feel free to ignore certain feedback if you see that it is not aligning with what you have mentioned in the application. But the overall idea is to give you a free flow of the prospects and the things that can be asked from your profile. So thank you, and glad that we were able to help you with your interview prep. So to sum up, what would be your key advice to those who are applying for the YL program, and how should they like the top three advices, maybe if you can sum it up?
You've really put me in the spot now. So, obviously, first and foremost, take it easy. Obviously, it's a very tough process. Specifically, getting a good B school in India is pretty tough given the nature. Now that PGP while also accepts papers like CAT, GMAT, GRE, everything. So, choose firstly what the right paper for you is. It might be like sounding like very intuitive to someone that, oh, obviously GMAT or GRE might be easier than CAT, but again, like the cutoffs then are high. For CAT, what I know from my batch for GEMS, the cutoff is around 99.6, 99.5. For GMAT, similarly, the cutoff is 665 focus. For GRE, it's 328. So choose the right paper that you want, the paper that you can get for which you want to apply for. Second, specifically in a college like ISB, which draws humongous influence from colleges in the West and philosophies from the West, like Kellogg, Northwestern, multiple other colleges. Yeah. So because from colleges like ISB, which draws humongous influence from the West, and because it has collaborations with multiple Western colleges, your extracurriculars and what you have done outside of work also hold a significance importance than what you have done in your work. So that is a very that is something which you need to focus on. And lastly, again, very trivial advice, but because I'm a huge MS Dhoni fan, keep trusting the process. But when I say keep trusting the process, have a goal oriented in your mind. Be like, the most important thing is keep celebrating small wins. Even if you're scoring good in a mock, keep celebrating that. Even if you're scoring bad in a mock, keep try and understand where you went wrong with the mock. And obviously, for some people, quality over quantity can work, and for some people, maybe quantity can work. I was someone who only gave 7 mocks the before the paper day. So again, it's person to person. It's how you need to understand where your brain needs more attention, where you need to focus more on. And yeah, more than that, again, on the interview day, it's just random. It's a bit random. So yeah.
Okay. No, I loved it that you are a Dhoni fan, because I come from the city from where Dhoni comes from and studied in the same school where Dhoni studied. So so I'm a big fan of Dhoni too. And yes, I can't deny that, trust the process, celebrate the small wins, right? And align, like be aligned with your goal. Why this program, and why do you want an MBA? Why ISB? And how you started that? You should take it easy. You should choose the right exam. Though it ISB has announced this, that they are taking through CAT, GMAT, and GRE. And GMAT and GRE sounds easier, but then you need to understand which test is for you, right? And that you can very well do it by taking free mock tests that are available on their website, like mba.com and ETS, and for the CAT, right? So you may want to first take a free mock test of all these three tests, and then decide which one is for you, right? And yes, thank you so much for the insightful feedback and insightful journey of your application and your interview prep. We wish you all the best, Sagar, and I see that you are joining ISB in the next week. And stay connected. Thank you so much for trusting us. Thank you so much for joining us for this chat, that too on a weekday. Do reach out to us in case you have any questions, concerns during ISB or during your placement or anywhere, because the team is with you. You can always reach out to Prashant, who is the founder and who is also an MIT alum. So, to answer your questions or concerns related to anything that comes in between your journey towards ISB, and to Vikram, who is our CEO, and any of us who can help you. So, thank you so much, Sagar, for this wonderful
Thank
insight.
you so much again, ma'am, to you and to ISB Mantra. I remember like during the counseling sessions, I kept disturbing you for when this interview would be scheduled, when my mock interview would be scheduled. And like I'm very happy that you guys have been so cooperative, so structured in the working, the mails that I got in advance for this session. So yeah, thank you to you, thank you to ISB Mantra, and yeah, definitely I'm stay connected.
Thank you. Thank you so much. These words motivate us and to, even do it even more professionally. Thank you so much, Sagar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Have a great day.